All right, folks, what's going on? It's episode 534 of the First and Free Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern Atlanta Falcons football. And we're going to start off this Monday talking some Georgia Southern football. Hopefully, you guys had a great weekend. Everything is good on my end. If you can see behind me, we're starting to empty this place out. We're going to be moving soon. And probably within the next week or two, this whole setup will be different. If anything changes as far as the schedule of this program, you will be known immediately. It looks like everything's going to be scheduled as planned up until, Friday. So you should have regular episodes up until then. But after Friday, things are going to start rolling. So I'll keep you guys posted on how things are going to go as far as the episodes. But nevertheless, I really appreciate all the support and all of the feedback. It's great. I love the fact that you guys love watching and listening to the show. If this is your first time here, welcome. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble. Excuse me. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. You can, listen to the show on the podcast side if you can't catch the visual side. I highly recommend you guys to subscribe to both sides, because sometimes the show will show up on one but not the other. So whatever your favorite platform is on the podcast avenue, you go ahead and lock me in and be your own program manager. That would be awesome. Also, the show is brought to you by BetUS. If you click that link down in the description, put in $100, get a 125% bet book bonus. And you could put the, wages down on anything from NBA, MMA, esports. Baseball is about to start. College baseball just started. And Georgia Southern is looking really good in college baseball right now, beating up on West Virginia. So that's awesome to see. And all other things under the umbrella. So hopefully you guys will check that out. Let's go ahead and get into this. Today we're going to talk about some football. Coach Clay Helton, once again, he's finding success with in-state ties. He's keeping things in-house. He's bringing guys who went out of the state, bringing them back home. And you just really can't, you really can't knock it. It's something to be proud of when you want kids who are in the state of Georgia to stay home and play in the state of Georgia. And there's other schools in the state of Georgia that are up and coming, whether it be Kennesaw State. Obviously, you know how Georgia Tech is, and UGA is already. That other school that's up there in Atlanta with the fake football stadium, we don't talk about them. I guess they're up and coming a little bit. They got our number, but they don't get the recruits like we get. And I'm showing you right now, wow, not just the recruits, but the transfers. And we're going to talk about 9 guys that are staying in-house, that are coming home from being outside of the state of Georgia. And it's a beautiful thing, because you want these kids in this state that is a lot of talent in this state, and you want to keep it home. So it gives more kids an incentive to say, hey, you don't have to go all the way to, Kentucky, or you don't have to go all the way to, West Virginia, or go to, the DC area or in Pittsburgh, for that matter, to play football. You could play right here in the state of Georgia, in one of the coolest Georgia areas in Georgia in the state, and also one of the best college campuses, which is Georgia Southern. So we're going to talk about these 9 players that are back in the state of Georgia. They graduated from Georgia high schools. They went out to another college to play, but they came back home so they could play for, in some cases, their final season, or in some cases, they got up to 4 years of eligibility to play with the Georgia Southern Eagles. I think that is phenomenal that these guys are coming home. So we're going to start off with Christian Varner, the guy that with the big picture, that's not in the frames. Christian Varner came from Hiram High School. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of similar to the place where I'm going to be moving to. And Hiram High School went to North Carolina and played in North Carolina, but he's back home to play in the state of Georgia. He's playing for Georgia Southern. He's played last year for us, did fairly well. And it's good to see him continuously try to evolve as a defensive tackle for Georgia Southern. So it's good to keep that back in, the fold. The next person I want to talk about, top of the list, Bryson Broadway. We took him from that school with the fake football field, Georgia State. He's no longer with that school. He decided to come to Statesboro and play with, the Georgia Southern Eagles from Dawson County High School. Awesome to see him play with us. We need more help on that offensive line at 6'5", 275. Pretty sure he's going to make some headway on the offensive line, keeping our quarterback upright. Next person I want to talk about is Chris Carter from Mays High School. Good to see him here. I cannot remember what school he came from. I know he was one of the guys that came from, there it is. He came from Garden City, Kansas. I think it's CC Community College, whatever the case may be. Another offensive tackle, 6'7", 280. Good to see him come back home and play with us. That is absolutely awesome. The next person that I want to talk about is Danny Corbett. I cannot remember what school he transferred from, but he's from Lowndes High School. Like I said, he's come back home to play, and great to see another kid come in and want to stay homegrown, stay home and play. Well, one thing about this is a lot of your family can travel much easier when you have situations like this. It's just much easier when you have this situation where these kids can, play pretty much at home, and their family can come and see them on their home games, whatever the case may be, because it's good to have kids go out and explore different avenues or different environments when they are, playing at another state or whatever. But it's just something special about coming back home. TJ Lewis, not too far from Statesboro, played at Glenn Academy, went to Louisville, and he decided to come back home. I think this kid could be a special guy, along with the rest of the guys that are playing wide receiver for Georgia Southern. So you're probably going to hear that name a lot because we're a lot more pass happy now. Another guy I think you're going to hear a lot of name of this year is Jalen Barton. Jalen Barton, Westside High School. I think he's from I would be remiss. I think he's from I don't want to get that mixed up because sometimes when you hear Westside High School, you kind of hear of the, the area like near the Atlanta area, whatever the case may be. But he's from the Macon, Georgia area, which is, right down the street from Statesboro, basically. So for him to come back home after playing time at Pittsburgh and actually had a fairly productive season. Sometimes you'll see him, catch a few good passes. Got some highlights here when he's catching passes from Kenny Pickett or whatever the case may be. Talked about him a good bit in other episodes. So it is, really cool to see him coming back and playing for this type of offense. I think he's going to be one of those kids that could be very productive with the plethora amount of receivers we have. We have so many good receivers. I think that's one thing that, that people are starting to realize when Cal Van Treese and everybody else who was here, they came through and had a pretty productive season, lost a few games that I feel like we shouldn't have lost, but nevertheless, Cal Van Treese and everyone else was very good at this offense, ended up throwing for over 4,000 yards. So it's going to be good to see a TJ Lewis and a Jalen Barton come in and do some things along with everyone else. So that's actually pretty awesome. So it's good to see that. JC French, one guy that a lot of people are talking about. I can't wait to see what he's going to be able to do if he ever is under center. Blessed Trinity Catholic High School from Roswell, Georgia. Went and go commit to Memphis, was there for a while, and then he decided to come back. I think he has like 4 years of eligibility, so that's good to see him. He may be around for a while, and we end up losing Alex Rayner, because Alex Rayner went to Memphis, but in return, in a de facto trade, we got J.C. French, so it's pretty cool to see that. All right, another guy, T.J. Smith, came out of McEachern High School, Powder Springs, Georgia, still around that area where I'll probably be moving to. He went to Kansas State. And a friend of mine that I follow on Twitter, I guess I could consider him a friend, he's a really cool guy, was telling me about him because he's a K-State fan and saying, like, we got a really good kid. I'm like, well, I'm thinking, like, of course, if he's from the Georgia, that Atlanta, Georgia, near that area, I mean, there's nothing but a bunch of athletes up there. So for him to go to, to K-State and want to come back home and play back in Georgia is an awesome, awesome thing. So once again, we got another kid that's a pretty good athlete, safety, 5'9", 190. And I think he's going to be really good for the team, especially on defense with Will Harris and the defense that we have. And last but not least, we're going to talk about Michael Lance. Went to Minnesota, and he was a kicker for that game that we don't like to talk about when we Georgia Southern versus Minnesota. Man, I really hate the fact that we lost that game, but Michael Lance was the kicker in that game. He's back down here at Georgia Southern. He came here last year, and he's pretty much the kicker on kickoffs, so he helps out a lot on that avenue as well. So there's your 9 guys. Everybody that's here going to contribute in some way. I have no doubt there's a reason why they're transferring here, and they have a lot of experience and talent under their belt. So it's just going to continue to add to what Coach Clay Helton is doing. Not only that he's getting some great kids out of high school, some kids are leaving for the transfer portal. Guys like a Gerald Green, or you have guys like Derek Canteen and some others that left. But then again, we're bringing in some other guys. And what makes it special about the guys that we're bringing in, we do have other players that are from other, states that are coming in, no doubt. But I will say the ones that are from the state of Georgia, it just goes back to what I was telling you. When it comes to Coach Clay Helton, he wanted to get kids from this state. He said this area is just full of talent. And for him last year to go throughout the entire state, every county, to get players, and he turned right back around to pull players from out of state, that's from the state of Georgia, back into this area is really cool to see. So I cannot wait to see what these guys do in the field. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know what you guys think. I think this is another iteration where we're already getting recruits from the, high school realm throughout the state, going through all of these other, avenues, going to all these other counties, trying to get these players. And now we're bringing some home, some that went other colleges, probably couldn't get the opportunity that they wanted. And they're coming here to get, in my opinion, a better opportunity to play in the Sun Belt in a really fierce, competitive state, competitive conference, and even in a competitive division. So it's going to look really good for these players coming in, even the ones that I haven't mentioned that are not from the state of Georgia that are coming in. They're going to understand real quick how, basically how competitive and how rough it is in the Sun Belt. Because Georgia Southern does a pretty good job in the Sun Belt, but all these other teams are doing just as well. And we're going to see how that continue to play out. Just let me know, guys. Let me know what you guys think, just off top. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble, Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts. Click that link down in the description if you want to hit that Bet US, put down $100, get a 125% bet book bonus. I will be back on Tuesday. You're probably going to see more moving and shaking up here in this room with less stuff around because we're in the process of moving. Hopefully everything goes smooth for the week, and we'll just go from there. All right, y'all. Y'all take it easy, and y'all be blessed. Peace.